All right, hello everybody. So today we're going to be looking at 1.2 order of operations. Just a reminder, when it comes to these notes, make sure you're doing these along with me on a separate sheet of paper, because that paper will be turned in at the end of the triad, as well as you'll be able to use it on tests and quizzes. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of, starting with some fundamentals right here. Order of operations, the order in which you should do your math. All right, and something I'm sure all of you have seen before is kind of the easy way to remember your order of operations is it's a PEMDAS. All right, parentheses is what you'll start with, then exponents, then multiply, divide, then add, subtract. If you guys notice here for multiply, divide, and add, subtract, I have these little arrows because those are interchangeable. All right, when it comes to multiplying and dividing, you'll do whichever shows up first in your problem as you work from left to right. All right, so if division comes before multiplication, you'll do it first. Same thing with addition or subtraction. Okay, I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. Feel free to pause the video if I, am kind of zipping past, or you can rewind it. But yeah, I'm just going to kind of go through this and do some examples that I think are worth seeing. Okay, so I guess a reminder on how these notes work. When you see this EX, that stands for example. These are problems that we'll do together. So I'll have you copy the problem down, and then as I go through it, you can go through it too in real time. Okay, we'll eventually get to a practice problem. Those are problems that I'll have you try on your own, and then we'll look over it. Okay, so example problem, go ahead and just take a minute and get these directions here. Use PEMDAS to evaluate the expression, and go ahead and write out this first problem we have here, and then we'll try it together. So go ahead, copy it down. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this thing out. So the question is, where do we start with this thing? Should we divide these numbers? Should I do 27 divided by 3 first? All right, the answer is no. We need to follow our order of operations. Okay, so just to kind of show you guys, parentheses, that's the first thing I'm looking for, right? I don't see any. Cool, moving along. Next thing I'm looking for is, are there any exponents? And it looks like, yeah, we have 3 to the power of 2. All right, so that's where I need to start on this problem. So everything else can kind of just come down. So this 27, I'm just going to bring down. Okay, but I'm going to do this math, 3 to the power of 2. Remember, 3 to the power of 2 is saying we're multiplying 3 times itself twice. Or, yeah, 3 times itself. All right, or we're multiplying 2 3s together, I guess is a way of thinking it. Okay, so 3 times 3, it looks like we're getting a 9 here. So divided by 9, and then I'm just going to bring the rest of this down. Okay, take this one step at a time. Bring it down to 2, bring it down to minus 1. All right, so here's our next step. Now I just kind of restart. Okay, now I'm thinking, okay, any more exponents? Nope, don't look like I don't have any more of those. So I'm moving on to multiplication and division. Okay, whichever comes up first. Here's what I noticed. I have both of them, division here and multiplication. Here's the question. Should I, multiply these together, or should I divide these first? Okay, we do whichever comes first, working from left to right. So that means this 27 divided by 9 is where I need to start. All right, and feel free as we do all of this. I highly recommend having a calculator right next to you, and just you don't need to do if you're not great at math in your head, that's okay. Use your calculator, and then kind of learn the patterns. Okay, so I know 9 goes into 27 3 times, and I'm just going to bring down the rest of this times 2 minus 1. Okay, now it restarts. I'm looking for any other multiplication or division, and yep, I got some multiplication. 3 times 2, we're getting a 6 minus 1. And then the last thing we'll look for is, oops, sorry, wrong way, addition or subtraction, and it looks like, yep, we do have some subtraction, so 6 minus 1 will get 5. Okay, when you get your answer, maybe circle it, put a little box around it. Okay, so there's some nice fundamentals, and we're going to go through a lot of fundamentals here. This is one of the first lessons we're doing. So let's move on to this next example. Again, we'll do this one together. Okay, so take a second, copy down these problems. We'll try them together. You can pause the video if you want. Okay, so a couple problems. These are just kind of little, small, I guess, I don't know, little problems that give you a little bite-sized taste of this math here. So let's just go ahead and look through it. So first thing I notice is, I got some parentheses. That's the very first thing I should worry about. So now I'm getting inside the parentheses, and now the order of operations resets. I'm looking for, more parentheses, more exponents, more multiplication, division. I'm making my way down. All we have is subtraction here. So, of course, we'll do that. So inside of here, we'll subtract, and we will get, I'm going to bring down the 7. Well, I need to make that that erasing icon smaller. Okay, 7, and then when I subtract 13, or 8 from 13, I'm getting a 5. Okay, and then last thing I can do is I can multiply these together, and it looks like we get 35. So easy enough. All right, kind of the one thing on this problem I want to point out, some of you, when you see parentheses like this, you might have the idea to want to distribute your 7, multiply it by that. You actually could do that and you would still get the same answer. But since there's no variables in here, this isn't like an x minus 8, or that's not an 8, that's an 8. Okay, if it was like this, yeah, we'd want to distribute. Okay, but this is just really simple. We have just a bunch of numbers, so we can just follow our good old order of operations, make it easy on us. Okay, so let's take a look at this next one. All right, so I see I have parentheses. All right, that's where my eye is going. That's all I care about right now. Inside of it, I notice a couple things. I've got exponents and I've got addition. Well, following the order of operations, exponents is the first thing we got to do. So 3 squared is going to give me a 9 again, 3 times 3. So let's go ahead and bring down this stuff. I got a 24. I got this minus sign outside in front. 3 squared is 9, and then I got that plus 1. I'm just going to bring down. Again, I'm just doing this step by step. All right, now I notice I still have some stuff I can do in my parentheses. That's what I'm worried about. Let's go ahead and add those numbers. So I'm getting 24, excuse me, minus 10. All right, this might look kind of weird to you with the parentheses. If there's nothing left to do in the parentheses, they're kind of unnecessary. So, and then, maybe a cleaner way of writing this would just be 24 minus 10. All right, and yeah, that's the last operation we have, and it looks like we're going to be getting 14. Okay, cool. So let's keep moving. All right, now I have some practice problems. I'm going to have you guys try these on your own. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video. Go ahead and copy these down. Try them out. It's going to ask you what the questions are, and then we'll go over them together. Okay. Alrighty, so we're back here, and you were hopefully able to try these out, see how you did. Let's go over them real quick and see if you were doing them right. All right, so got some stuff to do here. I'm looking first, going back for my order of operations, parentheses. I don't see any on this problem. Next, I'm looking for exponents, and yep, I have some exponents. I have 2 to the power of 3. Just a reminder, 2 to the power of 3 is not 2 times 3, okay? It's not going to give me a 6. It's 2 times 2 times 2. All right, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So it looks like I'm getting an 8 here. So I'm going to bring down the 32, bring down my division sign. I've got an 8. Bring down my multiplication, 6. Okay, now next thing, I have no more exponents. Now I'm looking for multiplication and division. And it looks like I have both. All right, but since the division comes first, that's what I must do first. All right, so let's go ahead and divide this. I know 8 goes into 32 4 times, right? So it looks like we're going to get a 4 times 6, and 4 times 6 gives me 24. All right, and I was just saying one funny thing, since I'm making these videos, if I do my math incorrectly, like say 32 minus or divided by 8 wasn't 4, you guys aren't going to be able to correct me. So if I make a mistake, just kind of ignore it and kind of realize, oh, Mr. Stone, he made a mistake. Let's keep moving. Okay, on number 3, I have parentheses. First thing, let's look inside that. All right, I have some subtraction and I have an exponent. All right, so looks like the first thing I have to do is square this 2. Here's kind of a question. Am I squaring a 2 or am I squaring a negative 2? Okay, here's the thing. If I was squaring a negative 2, they would need to include that negative in parentheses. It would look like this. There would be parentheses around the negative 2, and then it would be squared. Since there's no parentheses around the whole thing, this is really a 2, just a 2 that's being squared, and this minus sign is just sitting there. All right, so 2 squared, we're getting a 4. So let's go ahead and now bring down a 3, inside my parentheses, I got my 8 I'm going to bring down, all right? And I got my minus sign, and I have a 4. Okay, and now you can see where this is going. I'm going to subtract my numbers, and then I'm going to multiply by 3. You know, we don't have to draw this out too much. Okay, but let's show our steps. So we got a 3 here. 8 minus 4 gives me a 4. 3 times 4, 12. Okay, all right, cool. Let's keep moving. All right, here's another example. All right, go ahead, copy it down. Notice the directions, I didn't include them because they're just repeating. By the way, if you ever see directions repeating over and over in our notes, I don't need you to write those same directions every single time we do a new example. All right, so just know that. All right, so here's what I notice. We kind of have these new things right here and here. All right, those are called brackets, but they're basically the same thing as parentheses. All right, they're just a way of making it cleaner. Because if we use parentheses instead of these, just real quick example. Oh man, I really need to change the size of this. Let me do that real quick. We'll waste your guys' time. Let's see, where is it? This, okay. That's small. That's a little better. Okay, sorry about that. So pretend instead of brackets, we actually had parentheses here. It would look like this, and it would look like this. Okay, that's kind of confusing having a bunch of parentheses side by side. So that's why we use brackets, just by the way. Okay, so yeah, we're looking inside the parentheses, and we got all of this to deal with. Here's what I noticed. We have parentheses within the parentheses. Okay, so now we need to then work on that. So that's my first goal, is to do this math. All right, and so we're gonna add those numbers together. We've got a 21 here. So let's bring everything down. So we got a 2. Okay, I'm gonna keep the brackets for now. 30, I'm just bringing down the minus sign. Looks like we're getting 21 in here. We could keep the parentheses, but it's kind of unnecessary because there's no other operations happening. So I'm just gonna put 21, close my brackets. Okay, now I'm looking inside and I got some subtraction I can do. So let's go ahead and subtract these numbers. It looks like we're gonna get a 9, so I got a 2. Now I don't need these brackets. I'm gonna turn them back into parentheses because this looks a little nicer, a little bit more like what I'm used to. Okay, 2 times 9, 18. Okay, all right, let's see what we got. All right, so practice problem. Again, go ahead, copy this one down, try it on your own. It's gonna prompt you to enter your answer just to see how well you did, and then we'll go over this together. Okay, try it out. Okay, so we're back here, and let's see how you guys did on this. So just like the last problem, we have some brackets. Okay, next thing I notice, within our brackets, we have some parentheses. So that's where we got to start. All right, so that is the first thing we'll do. Looks like we're getting a 12. So let's go ahead and write it out. So we got this 2 out front. This whole thing's turning into a 12. I guess we'll keep the brackets. Why not for now? So we got a 12. I don't need the parentheses there anymore. Divided by 4. All right. Now I notice, okay, just division inside of those parentheses or brackets. So I know 4 goes into 12 3 times. So we're getting a 2 times 3. I'm going to go back to using parentheses. And it looks like we're getting a 6 on this problem. Okay, so these problems, I'm hoping you're thinking, yeah, Mr. Stone, like, come on, we know how to do this. Good, good. But we're starting with the fundamentals because we got to make sure everybody's on the same page. All right, so the next thing this lesson gets into is to evaluate expressions. All right, which basically just means plugging in some numbers and doing a little bit of math. All right. Yeah, so it looks like this one is telling us to evaluate the expression when x equals 3. So again, go ahead, take a second, get the directions, copy these 4 problems, and we'll do it together. Okay, so, evaluating the expression, like I said, when it says, x equals 3, that means we're just plugging in 3 for x. Very, very simple stuff. All right, and this is where also kind of having a calculator might help when we get to the decimals. Okay, so on letter A, you can see it doesn't get much easier than this. If we're plugging in 3 for x, it looks like we're getting 3 minus 1. And guess what? 3 minus 1 is 2. All right, really that simple. All right, on letter B here, again, plugging in 3 for x, it looks like we're going to get, by the way, usually I'll try to work from top to bottom, though sometimes on fractions I like to work left to right. So this is going to turn into 9 over 3, or 9 divided by 3. And as you might know, 3 goes into 9 3 times. Okay, moving on to letter C, we're plugging in 3 for x, and it looks like we're getting a 13.5 plus 3. Just a little reminder, when you're adding and subtracting numbers that have decimals, what you want to do is line up the decimals. All right, so another way of thinking about this here, if I just were to write it off to the side, this would be 13.5, and I'm adding 3. I wouldn't want to put it right here though. Okay, 3 is also written as 3.0. That's where its decimal would be. Okay, so that's how I would add them. So it looks like I would get, I guess I should work from the right. 5, 6, looks like I'm getting a 16.5. All right, again, you probably could have done that in your head, but just a little reminder on fundamentals. Line up your decimals when adding and subtracting. All right, on letter B, or sorry, D, when we plug this thing in, we're getting 0.4 times x, so that means 0.4 times 3. All right, this is where we're multiplying. When you multiply numbers together, you would not line up decimals. Okay, so for example, if I were to actually do long division on this, okay, I would write it like this, and I would do my multiplication. All right, 3 times 4 gives me a 12. You guys know 0, carry the 1. Okay, but is my answer actually 12? No, I need to go in however many decimal places I have. And it looks like I have 1 decimal place here, so I have to also go in 1 decimal place here. So my answer would be a 1.2. All right, so some good old fundamentals there. Again, I let you use calculators in this class, so you can not have to do long multiplication or addition if you got one. Okay, so here's a couple practice problems. Go ahead, take a minute, or actually it's more than a couple. There's 4 of them. I'll scroll down in a second. All right, but go ahead and write out the directions. It looks like, by the way, directions are the same, right? Evaluate the expression. The only thing that's changed is what is happening? Sorry, is that we're plugging in 2 for y. Okay, so if you just want to write that as your directions, that works. All right, so go ahead, copy that, and you can go ahead and get these 4 problems written down. Let me just show them. Okay, try them out, and then we'll come back. All right, cool. So we're back. Let's go ahead and try these out. We're plugging in 2 for all the y's. I won't, go too long on this. So let's go through them and make sure you guys got the right answers. So when I plug in 2 for y on this one, looks like I'm getting 6 times 2. And you guys guessed it, 6 times 2 is 12. All right, going over to B, plugging in 2 for y, looks like we're getting an 8 over 2. All right, 2 goes into 8 evenly 4 times, and there we have it. Okay, moving to C and D, again, we're plugging in 2 for y. So this one, we're getting a 2 plus 4.2. If you know, okay, that means I'm going to get a 6.2. That's fine, just go for it. But again, the proper way to do this would be to show that 4.2 is being added to 2.0, lining up the decimals. That's why we're getting a 6.2. Okay, 6.2, there she is. And last one, we're multiplying again, 11.6 times 2. And you can see whenever I start to go fast, my writing gets all sloppy, so I apologize. All right, so yeah, we're multiplying these together just to show you the proper way real quick. Okay, we would do it over here. We're doing times 2 multiplication. We don't need to line up decimals. We just need to make sure we multiply and go however many decimal places we have. So 2 times 6 is 12, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. All right, is my answer 232? No, okay, because I have a decimal place. This thing's going in 1 decimal place, so I need to go in 1 decimal place. Let me change the color. Yeah, 1 decimal place, 1 decimal place. Okay, so 23.2. All right, Cool. So yeah, those problems, very simple stuff, but again, fundamentals, we all just need to make sure we know and remember how to do. All right, let's see how much more we got here. Next thing we're getting into is using exponents. All right. This is the same idea. We're going to plug in numbers. I'm just going to remind you a little bit on exponents. We'll go through this pretty quick. Okay, so take a minute, go ahead and get those directions. Go ahead and copy down these two problems. Alrighty, so looks like we're doing x to the power of 5 when x equals 2. So that means we're plugging in 2 for x, taking it to the power of 5, right? If you had a calculator, you could probably just type this in. I kind of don't mind, but I want to remind you, this is 2 being multiplied by itself 5 times. So this is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, that's technically what's going on here. And if we didn't have a calculator, it would still be easy, right? 2 times 2 is a 4. Okay, 4 times this 2 is an 8. 8 times this 2 is 16. 16 times this 2 is 32. So it looks like we're getting 32. Okay, moving down to this next one here. Looks like we have y to the power of 3, or y cubed, and they want us to plug in 1/2. Okay, let's try it out. Okay, so we got a 1/2. Here's the thing, this entire 1/2 is being cubed. I don't want to just write it like this, because this implies just this 1 is being cubed. The whole thing is, so we need to put parentheses around it. All right, and here's technically what's going on here. This is a 1/2 times itself 3 times. Oops, I wanted to write a 3. All right, little reminder, when you're multiplying fractions, you multiply the numerators together and you multiply the denominators together. All right, so if I go to do this math here, 1 times 1 times 1, I got a 1 up top. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2, 8. Okay, so I'm getting a 1/8. Okay, all right. So real quick, go ahead and try these out on your own. Same directions, you don't need to get those again, but go ahead and plug in these numbers and see what you get. Okay, so I'm going to skip past these practice problems because I feel like you guys know what you're doing here. I don't want to make this lesson longer than it needs to be. So let's get to the last couple problems. My lessons normally don't have this many problems, but since these are so easy, I wanted to go over a bunch of them. Okay, so last thing, we're going to evaluate the algebraic expression when x equals 4. So we're going to plug in 4 for all of the x's here. All right, so go ahead, take a second, get those directions, copy this down. As always, I'll try not to say that every single time. Okay, you can pause the video whenever you want. You guys know that. Okay, so let's plug it in. I'm going to start working to the right because that's what I do when I have fractions. So I got a 9 times 4, and I got a 3 times, again, we're plugging in 4 for x, so a 4 plus 2. Everything's at an angle. I'm like at a weird angle on my desk right now. Sorry about that. Let's make this look a little better. Okay, I'll try better next time. So yeah, let's just evaluate this thing. So let's start with the denominator. Okay, we just have multiplication, right? 9 times 4, we're getting 36. Sweet. Down on the bottom, we need to follow our order of operations, right? We got parentheses. We need to start inside of there, and just some easy addition. Looks like we got a 6 in there. So we're getting a 3 times 6 on the bottom. All right, from here, let's multiply that out. So we got a 36 over, looks like 18. Last question is can I go, can I simplify even farther? And yeah, 18, it goes into 36 twice. So we get a 2. Okay. All right, last one, guys. I'm going to have you go ahead and try this one out on your own. Again, direction-wise, since it's repeating, just go ahead and get y equals 8. Okay, copy this problem, try it out on your own, and then we'll go over it. Okay, give it a try. Okay, cool. So let's try this out, see what you got. So I'm plugging in 8 for y, so I got a 10 times 8 plus 1 up top. Down on the bottom, looks like I got an 8 plus 1. All right, nothing too crazy here. And by the way, I know, okay, order of operations, I'm going to multiply first, right? And then I'll add. I can probably do both of these steps in one, right? I know 10 times 8 is 80. I know 80 plus 1 is 81. So let's combine a few steps. It's all good. Okay, down on the bottom, we're getting a 9. And 9 goes into 81 9 times. And there we have it. All right, so yes, very easy lesson. I hope you were rolling your eyes as you went through this. But again, fundamentals, we need to make sure we're all on the same page. So yeah, there it is, guys. I'll see you in class.